In this video, you'll learn extra tips for using Google Tag Manager, along with extra resources you can use to learn even more about tag management. This is the 7th lesson in my Google Tag Manager training series, and if you're new to this series, then please check out the other lessons. I've included links to them in the description below this video. Let's begin with extra tips for using Google Tag Manager. My first tip is that you can use Google Tag Manager to add other elements to your website, not just tags. For example, you can use Google Tag Manager to add social sharing widgets to your blog, or add a chat widget to your product pages. Let's take a look. I've created an account for a chat widget I want to add to my website. And here we can see the code we need to embed on our website to add the widget. Let's copy the code. And now let's head to Google Tag Manager. Now I can create a new tag. Name the tag. And then select Tag Configuration. Now I can choose Custom HTML as the tag type. And I can paste the code for my chat widget into the configuration for the tag. Now let's add a trigger to the tag. We could choose the Initialization All Pages trigger to add the widget to all of the pages on our website. Or we can click the plus sign to create a new trigger. Let's say we just want the widget added to our contact page. We can name our trigger Contact Page. And then select Initialization as the trigger type. We can then choose some initialization events and select Page Path, then Contains, and enter /contact-us. This will mean that our widget will only be added to pages with /contact-us on our website. We can then save the trigger. And the tag. And let's preview our changes. Enter the URL of our website and click Connect. Our website loads. And we can now see the chat widget added to our website. So we're using Google Tag Manager to add other elements to our website. The next tip is that you can use a browser extension to inject the Google Tag Manager code onto any website. This is particularly useful if you want to test your tags and implementation before the code is added. Let's take a look. This demo site doesn't have Google Tag Manager installed yet, which means we can't test or preview the tags we've created. So I've installed the Scriptly extension for Chrome, which lets us inject extra code. Let's open the extension and add a new script. We can name the script, paste our Google Tag Manager container code, and remove the opening and closing script tags. We can also create a rule for where we want the script to run, so we can select Host and enter the domain of our website. We can then select the option to automatically inject the script. Now let's head to Google Tag Manager. And let's preview our container. We can now select the Tag Assistant tab, and we can see that Google Tag Manager has been loaded on my demo site using the Chrome browser extension. This means we can test our implementation without even needing to have the container code added to our live website. Then when we're ready, we can add the container to our website instead of just using the browser extension. This is a great tip if you're helping someone else get up and running with Google Tag Manager. And if you're not sure how to add the container to your live website when you're ready, then I've included a link to a previous lesson where we covered implementation in the description below this video. My next tip is that you can export and import containers in Google Tag Manager. This lets you copy existing implementations you've configured and also lets you get started quickly. Let's head back to Google Tag Manager to take a look. To export or import a container, select Admin. And then you can see the options on the right. Let's choose Export. You can then choose if you want to export the current version of your container at the top, or one of the other versions of your container. Then you just need to click Export and you'll download a file you can share with others to import the configuration for your container. Let's close this. And let's select Import. If you've already downloaded an exported container, then you can use this option to import it into another Google Tag Manager container. If you'd like to download a copy of the exported container we've configured during this training series, then you can find a link in the description below this video. You can then import the container to get up and running quickly. Okay, now that we've covered extra tips, I want to share extra resources you can use to continue learning even more about Google Tag Manager. First up is the Google Tag Manager Help Center. The Help Center has articles covering important concepts through to guides to help you set up different types of tags. It also includes the Google Tag Manager release notes that let you view the most recent changes that the Google Tag Manager team have made to the product. In the Help Center, you can also select the Community tab. This is a great place to ask questions about Google Tag Manager and search through all of the other questions people have asked. And I also recommend checking out the Tag Manager section in Google Developers. It provides technical articles covering implementation and customization options, including details about the data layer and how to implement e-commerce tracking. Google also has a Google Tag Manager Fundamentals course in their Analytics Academy. The course covers getting started, setup, important concepts, and tag configuration, so it's worth checking out. Apart from Google's resources, I also recommend checking out the learning resources I've put together. They include articles, PDF guides, and my other videos. I've included links to my resources in the description below this video. And when you're ready to learn even more about Google Tag Manager, check out my course. My Google Tag Manager course will take your skills and knowledge to the next level. My course includes lessons, walkthroughs, quizzes, and practical exercises. You can even test your Google Tag Manager skills on a demo website. You'll learn best practice techniques for setting up and managing your tags. Once Google Tag Manager is installed on your website, I recommend reviewing the tags, triggers, and variables every 6 to 12 months. You might find there are tags that you no longer need, so this is a great way to keep things neat and tidy in your container. And don't forget you can find a link to join my full Google Tag Manager course in the description below this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.